everybody and welcome back to Wisdom Minds, a channel where we talk about knowledge enhancing topics, financial wisdom and financial prudence. In my previous videos, I have discussed with you why and how gold, some high dividend yielding stocks and some good stocks available at reasonable valuations should form part of your total portfolio of investments. Today, let us, in a structured way, discuss about the basics of portfolio investment. We will go back a step behind and discuss about what constitutes investment. Yes, you are right. We will talk about savings and the myths related to savings. So, this is a very important video and one of the basic videos which are very important to build the further knowledge that we are going to discuss in the coming videos. So, watch this video till the end. So, the first basic myth about savings that we are going to break today is this equation.
Savings is the leftover income after you have done all your expenses. Now, this universal fundamental equation is absolutely a myth and is absolutely wrong. Because of this particular equation, you are being pushed down and you are not able to create the kind of wealth that you should be creating over a long period of time. Warren Buffett says, don't save what is left after spending. Spend what is left after saving.
And this is precisely the reason why you are not able to build massive wealth with your savings, though your earnings could be very high. So today, I'm going to tell you the right equation for savings, and that is
your expenses should be equal to the income that you have after carving out a specific amount as your savings. Now, this is the perfect equation for savings.
So, aren't you surprised how the equation of savings is actually the other way around?
Let us assume that you have a salary of 1 lakh. You also have some debts and liabilities in the form of maybe a housing loan or a car loan. Now, the first thing that you need to do is to carve out at least 5 to 10% from your salary for repayment of debts. Now, the important point to note here is that I am not talking about the normal EMIs which you are bound to pay every month. That should be a part of your expenses. But here I am talking about carving out a specific amount for repayment of your principal, which will help to reduce your loan. Now, you must be confused, how can repayments be made every month? A lot of banks and other institutions don't allow that. Well, what you can do in that case is make sure that you have either a RD or FD for this particular exercise. You transfer this particular amount, in our case 10,000, to that RD or FD. Once you have accumulated this amount for 6 to 12 months, then with a lump sum along with an interest, you can make the repayments. This will really help you to reduce your loans. Now, the next part is to make sure that you have earmarked at least 20% of your total income as your savings and transferred it to a separate account. Now, another 5% should be carved out for emergency funds. The last part now is the remaining funds are what is left for you to make your expenses during the month or the period for which you have received this particular income. This was a simple illustration for your understanding. Now let us understand the fundamentals in detail.
Now let us look at it in a structured way. The process, the stepwise approach to savings should be like this. Point number 1. Make a list of all your loans and liabilities. It could be a housing loan, a car loan, maybe a personal loan or any other. 2. Earmark a set percentage of funds towards the repayment of these liabilities. Now, this percentage could be as low as 2% to 5% or even as high as 10%. But make sure you definitely earmark this percentage. Now, you must be wondering that I'm already paying my installments. Then what is this different percentage? Let me explain you. Now, this is the fundamental rule of reducing your debts. You are definitely paying your installments, but that should be paid out of your routine expenses. This percentage that I am talking about is to reduce your principal. Now, we move on to point number 3, and the third point is earmarking a separate percentage for emergency funds. Now, it's very important, especially considering the health concerns around us right now, to have an emergency fund with us. At least 5% of your income should be contributed towards the creation of an emergency fund. Now, point number 4, and mind you, this is the most important point, you have to earmark a certain percentage which should not be less than 10%. At least 10% of your funds should be allocated towards your savings funds. Yes, my dear friends, this is the actual way of having your savings. You have your income, you reduce some amount for repayment of principal of your debts, and then you earmark some funds for emergency funds, and finally you take a set percentage every month and put it aside as your savings. And now finally, the fourth part is to utilize the remaining balance towards your expenses. Now, this is the trick with which you can control and budget your expenses. Using only this much amount for your expenditure means that every month you will have to control your expenses and your savings fund will keep accumulating. This will reduce the temptation and the urge to spend the entire income. And you will see how magically your savings funds will start building up. Now, this process helps to serve two important purposes. The first is that your liabilities, your debts start getting reduced slowly and gradually. Now, mind you, you're not just paying the installments, which includes the interest and a very small portion of principal, but you are also making sure that principal is also getting reduced by that percentage which you are earmarking right at the beginning from your income. Now, the second point is that you are also starting to build your wealth along with the savings, the regular savings that you are doing, and not just with the leftover savings after the expenses. Always remember, the interest that you are paying on the debt is actually the wealth that you are losing out over a long-term period. Now, you must be wondering, does earmarking a specific sum of amount and saving it is enough to build wealth over a long period of time? Well, the answer is a big no. This is not enough. You also need to have a financial discipline in your life. But what is financial discipline? Financial discipline is a very vast topic, and I request you to stay tuned for the next video in this series. If you found this video to be helpful, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel, Wisdom Minds.